Hello, and welcome to Spokane County Spotlight. I'm your County Commissioner, Josh Kerns, and joining me today is the Mead School District Superintendent, Shawn Woodward. Shawn, it's a pleasure to have you join us today.
Thank you so much for the invite.
Yes, as a graduate of the Mead School District myself, I'm excited to have a discussion about all the amazing and exciting things that are happening in the Mead School District. But before we start on that, could you give our audience a little bit of some background about yourself and really just introduce yourself to the viewers today?
Yeah, you bet. I just completed my 30th year in education, which seems really strange to say that out loud. 30 years ago, I started as a classroom teacher, an elementary school teacher, where I taught kindergarten through 4th grade. I did that for several years, moved up and taught junior high for a while and decided, you know what, I really like the elementary age kids. I moved back down. It was during that time I got interested in thinking about my scope of influence as an educator. And I thought, well, I like what I'm doing in the classroom, but I'd like to have more influence as well. So I went back to school and got my principal certification. Moved our family. I have my wife, Michelle, and 3 kids. We moved to Burlington, Washington, which is north of Seattle, about an hour north. And I became a school principal there for 9 years in a couple different K-8 schools in that school district. I got the itch again to maybe think about what other kinds of influence do I want to have within a school district. So I went back and I got my superintendent credentials. And our next stop was Paulsbo, Washington, in the North Kitsap School District. Stayed there for 4 years as an assistant superintendent of learning and teaching. And then finally I thought, well, I might as well take the next step, and that would be to become a superintendent. So we had kids at the time that were, 9th grade, 7th grade, and 5th grade. And we thought maybe we could soften the blow about moving if we said, hey, we're going to pick a mountain town somewhere in the United States. And we're going to move to a great mountain town. We love to ski, love to be up in the mountains, all those kinds of things. Didn't really soften the blow too much for our kids, but we ended up looking at Bozeman, Montana, Glenwood Springs, Colorado, and Sandpoint, Idaho, and we ended up landing in Sandpoint, Idaho. That was my first superintendent job. I was there for 7 years, and our kids still consider that home. And then the Mead School District job opened up about 3 years ago, and I jumped at the opportunity to come back to the state of Washington, and here we are now.
All right. Well, and so we always also like to throw in a few fun questions. So you mentioned mountain town skiing. What are some other things that you like to do in your free time for fun?
I like to move a lot, meaning I like to be really physically active. My family does as well, so we do a lot of running and cycling and mostly trail running, and just like to be outside as much as possible.
Okay. So can you share with us a little, what was that experience like, that first superintendent job over in Sandpoint?
It was a little shocking, to be honest with you. I spent my first 42 years living on the west side of the state, and then we moved into Idaho and were there for 7 years. And I was shocked really with the stark differences when it comes to education funding. Washington is known for funding public education a little differently than Idaho was, so that was shocking to me. I also moved to a very rural school district, so we only had 4,000 students, but we had 12 schools, or 10 schools, which is a lot for 4,000 students. It was all the way from, if you know Idaho, North Idaho a little bit, there's Coquilala on the south end of the Long Bridge there in Sandpoint. We had a school there all the way out to Clark Fork, Idaho. And so we had small schools of 70 kids all the way up to 1,000 kids. So it was just a very diverse school district when it came to socioeconomics as well as school size, et cetera. But it was a fantastic 7 years, and like I said, it was good to get back to Washington.
All right. So you've talked about a very vast experience in education, 30 years, teacher, principal, assistant superintendent, now superintendent. Are there still things you encounter in education that surprise you, or have you pretty much seen it all by now?
Well, I'd like to think by now that I have seen it all. The pandemic shocked all of us. I thought I'd seen it all, but I never thought ever that we would shut schools down to in-person learning. So that was absolutely shocking to me. And then the other thing that has been more surprising to me has just been some of the political aspect of public ed has changed drastically in the last 4 or 5 years. That's been a little bit surprising, and a little bit of just people taking sides on a lot of different issues, and it's been impacting public ed in ways that I didn't think would ever really happen.
Okay, all right. With your experience, in the classroom, in the individual schools as a principal, how did those experiences, how have those prepared you to be a better superintendent? I assume those have a direct impact in helping you kind of see the whole spectrum of education, having been at all those different levels.
Yeah, I think I didn't come from a family of educators, which has helped me as well. Most of my family are in the trades, so I think that helped, having that kind of experience and then moving into all kinds of different jobs within education has been helpful. Some people would say maybe jack of all trades, master of none. I don't necessarily love to look at it that way, but it has been helpful, that breadth of experience. I do think being in a smaller school district as a superintendent in Idaho with less resources required me to learn a lot about finance and human resources and operations and all those kinds of things. That allowed me to come to Mead, where we had a lot more resource, if you will. It's helped me in the areas of just quality assurance and having a better understanding of what I need to know to make sure that we're doing things well in each one of our departments, if you will. So I think it's been helpful overall.
Okay. One of the other exciting things we've heard about is Mead's Development Learning Olympics that are coming back. And so, following all the isolation, the shutdown, I mean, so many events that have been canceled. I mean, I know that there's a lot of excitement about that coming back. Can you tell our viewers a little bit about that event?
Yeah, first of all, it's been wonderful, because this is going to be my 4th year as superintendent. I started in the fall of 19, and then the spring of 20, things just took a turn for the worst, if you will. So things were kind of shut down, and now we're opening back up, which has just been absolutely phenomenal. One of the things we brought back was our DLC Olympics, and DLC stands for Developmental Learning Centers. We have those in a handful of our schools in our school district, and we have about 160 students in this program. And it's a program for students with pretty severe or profound disabilities. And the DLC Olympics is an opportunity for us to recognize those students and for them to shine, if you will. So they converge on the Mead High School track every year. They have done so for the last maybe 12 to 15 years in the spring. And we set it up kind of like an Olympic-style event where the kids get to march in by school with their school flags, and they are cheered on by parents, relatives, friends, other students, et cetera. The stands are completely packed, and we celebrate these students. And and then we do the national anthem and make it really formal and official for them. And then we have 10 to 12 events on the track and on the infield where those students participate in things like banana ball, lawn bowling, parachute kinds of activities, running, throwing, you name it. Whatever they're interested in doing, they can do that. It does a couple of things. First, we celebrate differences, and our students recognize, hey, we have a lot of things in common, and we also want to celebrate the differences amongst our students. We promote a sense of belonging for those particular students, and at the end of the day, there's lots of smiles from the kids, their parents. They get ribbons at the end, and if you haven't been, definitely you're invited to the next one next spring, but it's an absolute blast.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I mean, that's just one of those things that, quite frankly, shows how not only how incredible the Mead School District is, but how our community is. I mean, that is something. It's those types of events that really make the Spokane County community such an incredible place to call home, to be a part of. So, I mean, I think I can speak for all our viewers and just say thank you to the Mead School District for holding events like that. I mean, that's just incredible. It really is. What other types of events are coming to the Mead School District in the 22-23 school year?
Yeah, we have a lot. Like I said, we're just opening back up to the things that are kind of more normal, if you will. Yeah. But we also want to recognize that what we want to provide for our kids and families, it's not just academic support. We're very worried about the impacts of the pandemic and what that has had on our student and our family's well-being. So we're opening up a series of activities next year to support our parents and to support our kids outside of the traditional schooling, if you will.
Okay.
We're going to do, I believe, 9 different events. We're starting off in September with a suicide awareness, suicide kind of prevention type of a opportunity for our families, where they can come in and listen to a nationally known speaker in that area and just have a forum to talk about some of those issues. We really want to increase the protective factors in our community to kind of make sure that we are doing what we can to positively impact student wellness, and that's going to be a big part of that. We're going to follow that up with some support in the area of social media. Parents do not quite know how to navigate how challenging that is for their kids, for themselves, for their families. So really we want to promote wellness, and we hear that loud and clear that parents want that kind of support. So we're very excited to do that. It'll be a lot of reckoning with tough issues, but also celebrating all the great things we have going on in our community to help our families. So there's that. The second piece, I'm looking forward to engaging more in person with local industry, not just in the Mead School District, but in Spokane County. We are kicking off a real intentional, systematic approach to getting students who aren't dialed into the college path to have articulated pathways, not just to college or technical school or the military, but we want to guarantee every kid that doesn't want to go those routes, we want to guarantee them employment in, if not the county, in the state of Washington, right? We have kids with employable skills. We don't think we've done all that we can do to help make connections with local industry. So we're going to invite local industry in. So those that are watching this program, please reach out to me personally. We're going to have a series of events to get people around the table and figure out how can we guarantee kids employment that want to be employed when they leave high school, and how can we celebrate that the same way we celebrate kids going off to college. So we're really looking forward to engaging in that way as well.
Yeah, and you know, I've seen the Mead School District has really taken a lead on partnering with other community organizations like Associated Builders and Contractors, Spokane Home Builders Association. So you've had events where students really get hands-on experience building, teaching them how to frame, how to roof, how to really get those sort of entry-level skills into construction trades. And I mean, I think that's fantastic. I don't remember those events happening when I was there 20 years ago, but I mean, I just think that's fantastic. As workforce needs change, as our economy changes, the industries that are in demand change as well. And so I think it's fantastic that the district has stayed on the cutting edge there, staying up with what is the need of the economy, and really providing and giving the opportunity to students for them to gain those skills that are really in demand today. So I mean, that's just fantastic.
Yeah, we're really excited about that. I think we're in a really good spot, and now we want to take it to the next level. And one of our other areas that I want to add to is we want to make sure that we have a lot of AP classes, dual credit classes, those kinds of things. We want to also bolster our industry certification program. So next year, we know one of the highest demand fields also in the county and in the state is the health fields. And our first stab at industry certifications is for certified nurse assistant programs. We're opening that up next year. So a student can actually, that's interested in that pathway, can leave with their diploma, leave with a certificate. They make on average of about $30,000 per year starting. They can possibly get into a hospital or a setting that may pay for further education for them. There's signing bonuses available for those students as well. So to your point, we want to look at, what are the needs, make sure our educational program offerings match that so kids have a better chance of success after they leave us.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to sort of those district-centered events, sporting events, marching band, you have a beautiful new facility that's in downtown Mead with Union Stadium. Can you tell us a little bit about that and sort of what some of the big things that are in store for that location?
Yeah, we're really excited about that. That's it's a shame that we opened that up during the pandemic, but it was done. It was ready. And now we're filling it up. Other school districts have been using our facility as well as us, obviously, primarily. But yeah, it's being used for all of our traditional sporting events. Our marching band has been performing in there. Our community is using it this summer. Off air, we had talked about the Women's Military World Cup. 10 different countries are participating in that event right now. It's a free event to those that want to come check that out. So we have world-class soccer happening in the stadium right now. So we see it as a great facility for our kids to utilize, as well as a great facility for our entire community and our county to take advantage of as well. So we're really proud of that facility.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous facility. I was lucky enough to be able to take a tour when it was under construction and sort of see it sort of in its phase of being built, and then to see it when it's all finished. I mean, it's just a beautiful facility, and really is an incredible asset for the entire community. So that's great. When we look, I think it's probably safe to assume that a lot of the teachers, a lot of staff, and the district as a whole kind of saw the difficulty during the pandemic and transitioning to online classes. But were there any was there any silver lining there, or something that really stretched the district's ability to really look at delivering education in an alternative method?
Yeah, there's two pieces to it. I'll start with, we now have avenues to engage our parents that we really didn't know existed before. So my big aha was right before we were one of the few schools in the state to jump back into in-person education for our kids. And we learned about this thing called Zoom, right, where we could have webinars, et cetera. So we wanted to make sure we listened to our families. We were able to outline options that we had for our students, et cetera. And within 48 hours, we were able to have a platform where we had over 1,000 people attending that meeting. Mm-hmm. I've never been able to do that. This is my 5th school district that I've worked in. Never have we been able to get 1,000 people together for anything so quickly. Mm-hmm. So that's part of it, being able to engage people where they're at their homes, on important issues that matter to them. We're going to continue to use just some of the amazing technology out there. From a program delivery standpoint, we've really prided ourselves in the Mead School District on not having a one-size-fits-all approach. And we thought we were pretty much there, but we've expanded that even more post-pandemic, or I guess I don't know if we're still in the pandemic or not, but wherever we are at in it. I'll give you one example. We had synchronous learning opportunities available for our students, as well as in-person learning. At the elementary level, students could log in and be with a teacher all day at home. Well, we've continued that. Our parents have told us, we have these unique situations in our household where could we continue with that, a synchronous learning experience where kids log in, they're engaged with the teacher 5.5, 6 hours a day. And we said, absolutely, we can do that. It's proven we can do it well. We've seen really good learning gains in that model. So that's just one example of something that I think that we'll probably have going on now and forever, because it fits a unique need for some of our families. So definitely some silver linings, and I think every month we learn something new that we hope will help us in the future as well. Yeah.
As we do transition out of the pandemic, do you see any lingering struggles that as we move on that are going to continue to be there as a result of the pandemic, even as we as we put it behind us? Or any of those struggles that you think are going to still be there, or they're created?
There are. I mean, I think the main one would be the pandemic, for whatever reason and other factors, created some divisiveness that we're going to have to get over. Mm-hmm. It's created some side taking, and what we need to really rally around is a way to figure out, hey, we have some things in common, and the thing that we all have in common is we need to ensure future readiness for our kids. Mm-hmm. And we need to make sure we have the right kind of systems and structures and support in place to do so. So let's find our common ground. That's proven to be challenging. We're on an upward trajectory. There's some positive things that I see coming. The other piece is declining enrollment. Mead has for years and years and years been a growing school district, but the pandemic came at just the same time that the housing market was being squeezed, and there wasn't as much housing available in our school district as there had been. So we had an issue there where we had some flattening enrollment, and then we lost about 500 students, much similar to districts across the U.S. that we're still recovering from. So what people don't always understand is declining enrollment means we have to tighten our belts, and that means sometimes class sizes go up a little bit. It means we might have to reduce some of the programs that we offer, et cetera. So there's some challenges in communicating that correctly to our stakeholders and our taxpayers, et cetera, because there's some confusion there. Sometimes people think, well, there must be some mismanagement of funds. There must be this, there must be that. But realistically, if we lose 400 or 500 kids and those kids do not come back, initially with the pandemic, ESSER funds helped us with that. We had dollars coming in that helped us in the last couple of years. But now, until those students come back and some of those funds start to dwindle, we have to tighten our belt. So there'll be some things that we need to do a really good job of communicating that out. We'll get through it, but those are some of the lingering issues that are partially attributed to the pandemic.
Okay. Do you think the reduction in enrollment, is it that parents maybe delayed their child starting in the district when we were in the heart of the pandemic? They just maybe decided, maybe I won't enroll my kindergartner into kindergarten yet. Is it that the families have moved away? Is it that they've chosen other options? Or is it a mix of kind of everything?
It looks like a mix, but I would say our kindergarten numbers didn't drop dramatically. Okay. It was kind of even throughout our grade levels, if you will. A lot of families just said, we're going to wait this out. We're going to educate our kids from home. We're going to look at other options. Slowly, they've been trickling back, and we've also added other programs to try to pull them back. And we anticipate another spike now as people start going, okay, if we don't start with masks, which hopefully we won't, I don't think we will this year. We have all indications that we will not do that. We will pick up a lot of families just for that issue alone. So yeah, we think we're going to be getting these students back for sure.
Okay, it's so important in any community to have a tight social circle and ways to be involved. Can you tell us about some of the student clubs or extracurricular activities that are available in the Mead School District?
Yeah, we are so proud of the activities and the athletics that we have for our kids in clubs. If you want to join a sports program, we've got that for you, and we're super successful. I couldn't believe how well we did in the GSL this year at the state level, et cetera. A good portion of those titles, if you will, came from our high schools in the Mead School District. Very proud of that. If you're not into athletics, that's okay. We have fine arts programs, and we have award-winning drama programs, choir, band programs, et cetera. If you're not into that, we have student clubs. If you're a student that wants to be around like-minded individuals and you love Dungeons and Dragons, you can ask if there could be a club with that, and likely the answer will be yes. So we have Dungeons and Dragons, we have drama, we have poetry, we have language clubs. You name it, we have a club for it. Right. And for me, that means a great deal because it means kids will feel included. They'll feel like they belong. They want to go to school and not just go to class. They want to stay after school and be around kids that have similar interests. And I didn't get to see a whole lot of that my first year, honestly. That spring, those were gone. Nor my second year. Those came back last year. And now we're building even more of that out. We want to see kids in our classrooms, in clubs or in activities or in athletics. We want to see all kids engaging in those kinds of activities because it just feels great to feel like you belong somewhere. And that's good for circling back to the whole student wellness kinds of issues. So yeah, that has been really fun seeing that open back up for me.
All right. When a student graduates from the Mead School District, what is it that you hope they take with them whether it's if they're going on to college or they're going to enter the workforce? What is it you hope they take with them that really sets them apart from everybody else?
Well, we adopted a new vision statement as a part of our strategic planning process when I first landed in the Mead School District. And our vision is each student future ready. Underneath that is empowered to dream, believe, and achieve. And those aren't just words to us. What I would really like, and I think I could speak for a lot of people in our school district, for kids to really actualize that. To, it sounds cliche to say, hey, we want kids to believe they can do or be whatever they want. We don't want it to be a cliche. We want it to be real. We want kids to understand that you can live a happy, productive life and be a contributing citizen by doing all kinds of things. And what we want them to understand is you can take what you're passionate about, you can take what you're naturally gifted at and you have aptitudes in and things that you've learned in school, and you can tie that into something that you can actually make money if you want. You can contribute in other ways, maybe not making money, doing something else for your family, whatever, but you can do things that give you great joy instead of just punching in and punching out. That's what we want for our kids. You can do anything, and don't be locked into these boxes. Sometimes kids think, well, I can only do this. That's not true. We want our kids, again, to dream, to believe, and achieve whatever they want to do in their lives. So we hope that we can have them leaving us with a sense of excitement about the future, and that they feel prepared.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful, and that's an incredible message, honestly, that I hope a lot of people understand just how important that mindset is for our youth, for those students that are in school and that are graduating shortly. That's an extremely important message. Before we're out of time, are there any final thoughts or any final messages you'd like to leave with our viewers?
I would just say thank you to our community. We enjoy in the Mead School District just a great deal of support from our community. So a great big thank you, and there's a lot expected out of us as a school district, and I love that, and I believe that we'll continue to rise to the level of expectation that our community places on us. So I just want to say thank you to our community.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being generous with your time and joining us today. So, and thank you to the viewers at home for joining us. My name is Josh Kerns, and I'm your Spokane County Commissioner. Again, another huge thank you to Shawn Woodward, Superintendent of the Mead School District. And this has been another episode of Spokane County Spotlight.